Bonjour mes amis, c'est l'heure du lot. Je suis malade un peu. Ou je suis un peu malade. I'm a little bit sick is what I'm trying to say. How do I say that? Let me know which one is right or if neither is right. But it's water time again because my tummy's upset. I'm really sad. I had to mostly stay in today. I did go out and get soup. And that was delicious. But here's the problem. Here's the problem that my tummy is having with the cuisine. For those of you who don't know, I am lactose intolerant. And most French food, I'm noticing, is very creamy, very rich. Lots of creams, lots of butters, lots of cheese in everything. And for the most part, I've been like, I'm not the type of person who's so sensitive that I can't just have like a little bit, right? But it's gotten to the point where pretty much every meal has some of that in it. So today I woke up and I was like, man, I do not feel good. And a friend of mine was like, well, I mean, you're lactose intolerant. You might be having a problem with the cuisine here. I said, maybe. I said, most people have that problem. Even with just the water, sometimes going from one type of tap water to another type of tap water can be very jarring because there are different things in the water. So sometimes food and water and just being in a different place, the air is different. A lot of people wind up getting a little bit sick or having some sort of an upset stomach. Unfortunately, I'm not that sort of tank that can just like push through. When my stomach starts hurting, that's the end. I have a very sensitive stomach, unfortunately, which is so sad because I love food. I love food so much. So, of course, pretty much everywhere that we've gone or everything that's been made for me, I've been like, oh, I have to try that because I've requested a lot of actual French food, which means lots of creams. So, I'm paying the price. I've slept for most of today. I feel so much better right now. I still feel sick, but I feel a lot better than I did earlier. Earlier, it was like, I can't even stand up. I need to lay down. And everybody's been so sweet to me. I felt like such a dummy. But for those of you who don't know, Iron Squid is going on. Iron Squid is an esports event that happens in France. And it's been going on for a while, but in a mostly online capacity. And so now a bunch of casters have come to France to do Iron Squid. They've sold out their venue in like 5 days, which is incredible. I think it's one of those situations in which people who are constantly doom and glooming about esports, I'm like, they sold out 4,000 seats in 5 days. Like, can we calm down? 4,000 or 6,000? Like, a lot. Like, a huge venue in Paris. So I've been running into a lot of people, which has been super fun. I went to the Louvre yesterday and ran into the Rosen brothers from Texas Esports, and we got to, like, hang out at the Louvre. And, oh my goodness. So, basically, the Louvre was all I did yesterday. So, I didn't take too much, like, vloggy footage. So, and of course today I wasn't able to vlog anything. Unless it was just me, like, in bed going, you guys are cool, But the Louvre was amazing, and I got a little bit of footage. I got to see the Mona Lisa, and I've been told over and over and over again that the Mona Lisa is so tiny that I literally got to the point where I imagined it, like, this big. Like, every time somebody said it, my expectations of how big it was, like, went down. So, the Rosens were like, oh, man, you have to see the Mona Lisa. There are going to be a lot of people around it, but it's not like you won't be able to see it. They've, like, lifted it up so that everybody can still see it above everyone, even if you're short. They said, but, it's very small. I was like, okay. And then I got there, and it wasn't, like, as small as I was expecting. Everybody just, like, totally blew my expectations out of the water. I was imagining it was so small. It's like the size of a normal painting. I think when you're in the Louvre, and you're walking around, you're like, there are giant sculptures of people high-fiving each other in coliseums, and oh my goodness, who made this tapestry that is the size of 50 people? Like, so much, so big, that sometimes when you see the Mona Lisa, you're like, this is like normal size. And then you get disappointed and you walk away. For me, Mona Lisa is very nice. I mean, it's nice because of the marketing around it, right? It's nice because so many of us grow up our whole lives being told about the Mona Lisa. We know that the Mona Lisa exists. So when you see it, you're like, oh, it's Mona Lisa. So where's the Egyptian exhibit? Just like move on. I went to Napoleon's apartments, which was awesome. Found out, I don't know how many of you have had this scenario where you kind of had like a vague idea of what your family history was like, and then somebody decides that they want to get really into genealogy, right? So my mom and my aunt lately have been researching my dad's side of the family, and apparently there's like a decent chance that my, not great-grandfather, but 3 greats, great-great-great-grandfather, or 4 greats? God, I can't remember. I can't remember how far away he is, but close enough that my dad can apparently do a DNA test to find out if he's related to him, which blows my mind. Apparently, I might be a descendant of, like, Napoleon's, the head of Napoleon's army. And I was like, oh! Which, doesn't surprise me too much, just in terms of, like, genetics. Like, I know that I'm French. When I look in the mirror, I go, God, you're so French. And everywhere I go here, people assume I speak French because I think I just look very French. I feel so bad every time somebody starts speaking French to me, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. Most of the people that I'm with have said that they don't have that problem. That, when they are able to speak French, most of the time people are surprised, whereas it's the opposite for me, where if I'm talking to somebody, they assume I speak French. I'm like, no, je ne comprends pas. What was I even saying? Oh, yes. So I went to Napoleon's apartments. That's what I was going to start saying. And he was super into color coding. My goodness. Every single room was like gold filigree and one other color. We went through this whole huge area that was gold filigree and forest green. Everything. Forest green and gold filigree. And then we went into like the seating area, and it was gold filigree and fuchsia. It's like, oh my goodness, Napoleon. What do you even do with that place? It was huge. I was like, Napoleon, what were you doing in here? Like, what? I was really sad because there was a huge section of it that was closed off. They're, like, renovating a big part of the Louvre right now. So you couldn't even walk through, like, an entire... There's, like, a large section of the Louvre is shaped like a square. And then there's kind of like an offshoot. So there was an entire leg of the square that you couldn't walk through. It was closed on all levels. So that was pretty cool. I really liked the Louvre. I didn't realize how huge it is. Like, you can't do it in a day. It's gigantic. But we saw a lot. We saw the Egyptian area and Napoleon's apartments. And all the medieval. We walked through the tapestries. There's like an entire area that's like things that were owned by Queen Anne. I was like, So that was really fun. And what was I gonna say? I keep like having these like threads of thoughts, and I think, oh, I'll get to that next. And then once I get to the end of my thought, I'm like, where am I? What's going on? I'm gonna blame the fact that I've been sleeping all day. That's what I'm gonna blame. But the other thing that I love joking about, but I'm not actually gonna do, so don't be like terrified for my life. There's a huge park called La Défense, and it was where if you were going to duel somebody, you would go to this forest with your sword. You'd be like, "What up? Let's duel." And so we were all joking anytime somebody was like kind of picking a fight, like playfully picking a fight with somebody else, they're like, "I'll meet you at La Défense." And we started talking about how terrifying it would be, like at midnight, to just go to La Défense. It's a huge park. You just like go to La Défense and be like, "I better die." Just like walk around. It's like going to like one of those terrifying cemeteries, except it's a giant park in a town that we have been in for not that long. I guess some of us have been here for a while, but I have not been here for that long, so I would be confused out of my mind. Oh my gosh. Hilarious. There's also a Ferris wheel that I guess the Rosens went on, that when you get to the top, you feel like you're going to die, because I guess this Ferris wheel is like falling apart. I don't know how many of you have ever been on this Ferris wheel, but you can see it from a lot of places in Paris. Like, there were plenty of places that I went to, and I was like, "Oh, there's that Ferris wheel!" You can see it like way off in the distance, you're like, "Oh!" And at night it glows, and yeah. The point, guys, the point of all of this is to tell you, if you are lactose intolerant, be careful in France. Because it is so hard. It is so hard to avoid butter, milk, cream, all these things. Cheeses. It's in everything. It's in everything. Oh, here's the other thing that's interesting. They take food service extremely, it's very important to them. So I got my soup today, and then it came with, like, chuck roast with potatoes on top. It was almost like a shepherd's pie, except it was in, like, just a round thing on a plate. And I was mentioning, oh, it would be so cool if I could take this home. And my friend that speaks fluent French, has been here for a long time, she started laughing. And she was like, it's funny because leftovers are not a thing in France. They take it very seriously that at their establishment they are feeding you the amount of food that you are supposed to eat. If you don't eat all of it, they're not offended. But you do not take it home because you will not be getting the experience that they provided for you. And I was like, who eats that food later? I was like, do they feed an animal with it? What do they do with it? Because I feel like there must be so much food that goes to waste if there are a bunch of places that just say, no, you can't take this home. And I was wondering if that's still a thing, because she used to live here, and she lived here like a long time ago, though, not like recently. So I was like, I wonder if that's changed at all. I don't know. These are all like kind of questions that I'm posing to you as possible French viewers who know things. I would be interested to know if that's like a type of restaurant that's more like that, or if that's just restaurants in general, or if that's not even a thing anymore. Oh, here's something else. God, this video is going to be so long. I don't even care. You know what? I've been sleeping all day. This is my one productive thing that I'm going to do today, is tell you all the things, every stream of consciousness thought. So, the other thing, shoot, have I lost it? Where did it go? What was I thinking about? No! Oh, what was it? Oh my gosh. I think I've lost it. Give me a second. Give me just like 1 second. so disappointed in myself. So disappointed. What was I going to say? Gosh, I felt like it was cool or interesting somehow. Oh! Oh, sorry, that was so loud. I suddenly got concerned that I, like, woke somebody up. I'm like, sorry, Pierre. Okay, so, oh my god, did I lose it again? No way, no way, no way. No, come back! This is going to be the most ridiculous end to a video ever if I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, okay, so in America, at least, it is considered to be rude to correct someone, especially in their speaking, right? Later, or if they're like a close friend and they use something that you consider to be like boorish, you can be like, really? But if it's somebody you don't know, you absolutely aren't going to be like, that's not the way you say that, you know? It's considered to be rude. In France, it's very important to keep the purity of the French language. And when I was told this, at first I was like, that's probably only older people. I can't imagine a younger person. Like, I don't know why I thought this. I was like, I can't imagine, like, someone's, especially a foreigner, speaking French to somebody and them, like, constantly correcting you. So we went to get this meal. This is the same meal that I was just talking about, the soup and the shepherd's pie thing and all that. Went to get this meal, and my friend was telling the waitress that she wanted water with no gas. And the way that she said it, I guess, was wrong. And the waitress couldn't have been older than me. And stone cold checked her on everything. Was like, it's the wrong gender. You used the wrong gender. You should have said it like this. And then just walked away. And I was like, what was she saying? And then it was explained to me, you know, oh, well, I said it wrong. I said it with the wrong gender, so she was correcting me. And I was like, they literally do just constantly correct you? And she was like, oh, yeah. She said when I originally lived here, I used to get offended by it constantly. Because it felt like having, you know, lots of moms everywhere, just being like, you said that wrong, you know? And she said it when I was younger, I got so offended by it all the time. But I realized that it's just a point of pride. They want you to be saying things correctly. It's part of their culture. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Because if you look at it from that perspective, it's like, oh, this is awesome because I'm trying to learn this language and literally everyone is helping me out with mistakes I make. Because I feel like somebody who's trying to learn English, if we can understand what they're saying, in America, if we can understand what they're saying, we just let it go. We're like, I know okay, yeah, I'll show you where the bathroom is, right? You don't go, all right, you should have said the bathroom, not just bathroom. And, you know, just like correcting like every little thing. But that's literally what happened at the restaurant today, and she was so young. It rocked my world. I was like, dang, they like really take French very, very seriously here. And I think that that's so cool. Like, that's so interesting. I understand why it would be one of those things that makes people go, French people are so rude. That's such a silly stereotype. Everybody I've met here has been so nice. I'm sure that there are rude people. And the other thing that everybody always says is, well, French people are nicer to you if you speak French. And I was like, I feel like that's true of most people. For you to feel more comfortable if somebody knows your language. Because everybody that I've met here that was able to have some sort of a conversation with me, they weren't fluent in English at all. Like, they could understand specific words. But I think I've met one person who really understood what I was saying when I was just speaking English. So I've made more of an effort to say as many French words as possible, like kind of a mixture, so that I can get my point across for the most part. But I feel like, I don't know, I think it's so weird. It's so weird to be like, well, you know, unless you're speaking their language in their country, they're gonna act so weird with you. Like, well, maybe they don't understand. Maybe they're uncomfortable. You know? I don't know. It was interesting. I've been thinking about a lot of things in bed today, you guys. I've been just, like, considering all the French things today. But yeah, I'm having a great time. I'm having a fantastic time. It's beautiful here. I think I figured out the sweet spot of layers. I wore too many layers yesterday. I was overheated everywhere. I was like, this is too much. So I think I figured out how many layers to wear. But, I'm having a great time. I'm making you a 20-minute video. Sorry about that. I apologize, as though I don't know that most of you are going to go, yeah, 20-minute video. Even though like 5 minutes of it were me going, what was I going to say? But I hope that you guys had an amazing day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye. Au revoir.